Hello, everyone. So TS4U is a software development company. We are expert on the developing cloud-native software application and services. So part of our the deployment and the cloud ops and the DevOps engineering, the bootcamp, we have decided to share the core knowledge and the hands-on practices with you in a series of deployment. So starting with a very basic, the two-tier deployment. So we will be learning details. What is the two-tier deployment? What is microservice? What is like a front end? What is back end? So let's start the agenda for this session. So we are going to cover the two-tier application technology overview, deployment prerequisite, and the cloud platform. We are going to use AWS, infrastructure readiness on AWS, code base with dependency and overview, code base cloning from GitHub. We are going to use the GitHub, microservices runtime engine setup, microservices version manager setup, dependency installation, API integration with proxy setup, application starting up with designated port. And of course, we are going to, as well as we are going to test it using the Postman. So what does this small application does? There is a two layer of this application. It is a front end and there is a back end. So front end applications, basically there is a summation, there is a reverser. So in the front end, we can just the 1, 2, 3, and we can see the sum 6. And the reverser is like a 3, 2, 1, 5. And that's the basically the reverser. And we'll be actually seeing the UI. We will be accessing the webs from our browser, and we can actually try it out, the whole process after the deployment. So this is very starting for you as a cloud ops or DevOps engineer in your career. So for the tools and technology, programming language, NodeJS, and the Python, and the framework is using Flask. The code repository we are using the GitHub. That's where all the code is stored, version control, and the code update and code remove. All the control is showing in the GitHub. The cloud services, we are going to use the EC2 instance, VPC default, security group default, and we are going to use the public IP so that after the deployment, anybody can access the URL. Operating system we are going to use for the EC2 is Ubuntu Linux. And that's our goal. Prerequisite, of course, you have to, we need the AWS sign up and sign in, and we will be creating the AWS login. You need the, for the USA citizen and green card, you need the credit card, a debit or MasterCard, the Visa card, anything. Or the debit card you can use to create a free account on AWS. After creating the AWS account, we are going to create the EC2. We will use the project code base. We have to log into the we will do the SSH using the terminal software or we are going to use the Mac operating system to complete the login to the EC2 server, EC2 instance, and complete our journey. So as part of the infrastructure readiness, as I mentioned, we'll be creating the EC2. The operating system will be Ubuntu Linux. We will have the default VPC, public IP, key pair generate, server launching, SSH. I'll be discussing more details once we do the hands-on. I have Animal with me. He will be actually running the keyboard, and I will be actually explaining while he is doing it. Of course, as I said, we'll have the code base for the front end. We'll have the code base for the back end. Okay, so we'll be discussing those while we do this. And the code base cloning, we'll be cloning the code base. It is the public code base, so you can actually follow while we do this. And we'll be learning the microservices. What is the microservice in a nutshell? And we'll be learning the Node version manager. We'll be learning the Python installation for the backend. We'll be learning the Node package manager, Pip installation, dependency for the Python and the NodeJS. We'll be doing the API integration between the front end and the back end so that you can, as a user, you can access from the front end, or you can use the API testing tool so you can test it. Of course, we'll be testing the application after the deployment. So first testing will be done using the Postman API testing tool. The second, as from the user point of view, we'll be using the Chrome browser to test it out. Summation and reverser. And the post deployment, of course, we'll be learning when we do the API testing. Of course, the post deployment will be learning more when we do the browser testing. And thank you. So let's get started. All right, so we have the GitLab actually making a little tweak. We're going to use the GitLab as a code repository. So on the screen, we have the code repository. The code repository name is 2-tier application, and there is a 2 repository in it. One is backend, one is frontend. So let's go in the backend folder, please. Backend directory. In the backend, we have a 3 thing. We're going to go into the app.py. For your information, Python code extension .py. So let's go into the app.py. So in this, we have a 2 API that will be actually connecting with the front end. So API means that RESTful API means there is 2 or more than 2 devices are connected, sending and receiving the data over the HTTP protocol. That's the API. So there is a reverser, line number 9. There is a summation, line number 16. Both is method is post, which is HTTP method. So that's the what will be connecting with the front end. So once we do the work in the front end, we will see the magic that is coming from the back end. So let's go back to the previous one. Yes, back end, and go to the requirement.txt. Can you please open it? Yep. So as we mentioned, the framework for this code base has been used, Flask. Flask is a Python-based framework. Now we can go back to the front end. So in the front end, so we have the bunch of files. In this file, actually, we are going to go with the source, the code file, where the code is written, and we're going to go over the package.json. So for your information, for the node base, the deployment, package.json has all the dependency. In a nutshell, dependency is so many libraries that has been used to develop this code base. So those library has a different library has the name, and the library has a version number. So from line number 5 and to the line number 16, it has all the library information, including the version number, like a line number 16, React script 3.4.0. So that's actually will be needed for the part of the deployment, but giving you guys a high level. All right, now we are going to actually, first of all, we are going to, you need the AWS account. You can create it free. Then we are going to create the server. In that server, EC2, which we are going to create, and then we start working on it. There will be a front end, there will be a back end. We'll be installing the NodeJS for the front end. We'll be preparing for the back end, which is Python. Okay, let's get started. We'll be coming back on this link pretty soon. All right, so we have our user and the password. We are logging. Once we do the login, we are going to create EC2. EC2 is called the Elastic Compute Cloud or Elastic Cloud Computing. I forget about that. So it is the virtual computer, virtual server on the AWS. We're going to create the virtual machine now. So let's start with that. You have to hit the instance, launch instances. You have to click and you have to give a name. So we are going to give the appropriate name. test server for the front end or the back end. For front end, yep, that's correct. And then we are going to need number one instance, which is on the top. So we are going to use the one server to deploy the front end and back end. And we are going to use the operating system. A machine need an operating system. We are selecting Ubuntu and we are selecting version number 22.04. And the operating system architecture is 64-bit. And you see the instance type means the resources. We have a 1 CPU, 1 GB RAM. So basically you can get it free, tier eligible. So for this deployment, we are good enough. And then we are going to create a new key pair, which is you need for your deployment. So AWS instance, you cannot log in without you creating the key pair. So it is basically the required. We are not going more details on this session. So go RSA will be and the PAM file. Select PAM, create key pair. Key pair, okay, now we are done. We are going to give a name of this key pair. AWS key pair, we are selecting the download folder. So we have done that. Okay. And now we are using the network, which is VPC. And we are allowing the traffic from anywhere. 0.0.0./00 means the traffic can be logged in on this server from anywhere. That should be good. And allow HTTP traffic because you have to log in, you have to try from your browser. So we are giving the allow HTTP traffic from the internet. All right. And I think we're good here with the storage. Whatever we have, we are very good. And we click the launch instance, give the 30 seconds, your instances will be ready. You'll find out instance details on this screen. Just click the refresh. You see the instance state is pending. So in this, you just have to wait until it is ready. So after this ready, I will be going over, let's go over. You see the public IP, a public IP address is the integer or numeric number. The public means this public IP can be accessible from anywhere else in the world. And the private IP means only you can access or in your network who can access. So we need the public IP. Okay, and then we have also the private IP there. So instance is running, means your server is running. So now we are done. We actually need we'll be connecting here. So we get the connection information. So stay there, chmod 400 AWS key pair.pam. So that's what we need. So on our terminal, we are using the Mac. We open our terminal. You can hit the terminal like the space, the command and space, and you just type terminal. And that's the terminal will open. Okay, so what we're doing here, we copied that. And we'll be finding the AWS key pair.car. We'll be finding that. All right, so we downloaded in our download folder. That's what we saved this file. Okay, now let's continue this. So the file name is AWS. This is the file name, what you see on the screen. Can you like the bigger your screen so you can see better? So to larger screen, command plus. So your terminal will be bigger. Other people can see command plus. All right, so we downloaded this file. It is on our download folder. Can you please go to the download folder? Yes, this is the file. We will do the renaming this file .pam. So right click on this file and rename instead of pam.char. Okay, that's fine. Pam. Okay, that's correct. Okay, let's continue now. So now we are in our terminal. Clear the terminal, please. Okay. Clear the terminal so people can see. And command shift plus, command plus. Okay. Right. So this is the command we have copied from the AWS. So now let's hit the enter, change modification. Okay. So it's done. Okay. So now we are going to copy that line SSH. We are going to do the SSH and paste here. So that part is done again. And we're going to say yes, type yes. That is correct. Good. So now we are actually logging in our EC2 server. Yeah. So now we are actually into the server. So in this server, the first of all, when you are in a machine, you just update the machine. Sudo apt update. Sudo means super user do. Apt is the Ubuntu application package manager command. Update means you are updating. So you give a minute, less than a minute should be done. So now we are going to actually do let's start, we're going to implement the two-tier code base. So now we are going to bring the code base, we are cloning the code base. Cloning means we are copying the code base on the server. So you have to click the clone and copy HTTP, copy the URL. Okay, you can go. So GitLab, you can do this. So you can follow these steps. You should be good to go. Git clone and then paste. That's correct. Hit enter. So means from the GitLab, we copied the code on our code base. It's named two-tier application. So now let's do the ls on this directory. Yep, cd two-tier. So we are going to this directory. ls on this directory, and we have a two directory, one is backend, one is frontend. So now we are actually going to start the process. So we are first of all, stay there in the deployment journey. You always start the deployment on the backend. Once the backend is done, then we'll be doing the frontend. Once the front end and back end, the environment preparation is complete, then we will be going to the integration. That's what we are going to do. So let's start. So as we mentioned, at the back end is Python. So now we are going to install all the backend programming language, dependency, and all this needed. For this, sudo apt install and the Python 3.8, Python 3. So that is done. Okay. So now we are going to install. Okay. Python package manager name is PIP. Package manager actually help you to download all the Python dependencies. So we install the Python, it is ready to go. The next is we are installing the Python PIP. So then actually we can continue other steps. But for now, we are installing preparing the backend in our deployment. Okay, now let's continue. That part is done. Okay, so since pip is installed configured, so now we are doing the requirement.txt. If you just remember, in the backend folder, there was a requirement file was there, .txt, that's what we are doing. So all the package are getting installed now. So Python installation complete, pip installation complete. Now we completed all the dependency. Now let's continue. So now we are actually if we remember, we are using the framework in the backend, which is Flask. And for that reason, we have to export to run this command. We have to export equal to Flask equal to app.py. So let's go a little bit into the GitLab now. So we can see what you're talking. Can you please go to the GitLab? Backend. So remember the file name is app. So app.py. So now we are exporting app.py. That's the way we are doing exactly on the terminal on the EC2 server. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so Flash framework, we're using app.py. So now we have to run the thing, which is called the Flash run. So it is running now. At this moment, the server is running 127.0.0.1:5000. It is called the loopback or the local machine. So now we can run on our local machine, but we want everyone to access this code base or this application from their browser. So that's why we are going to make the changes now. Okay, press Ctrl+C to quit. So now let's do that. Yep. So Flash run dash dash, we are passing the parameter, or you can call the argument .0.0.0.0. It means from any computer around the world, this server is accessible for now. Because you cannot do this, we'll be deleting the server later on. All right, so now let's take this. Let's go to our browser. Go to your browser and go to and get the server IP address. So click on the instance and click the public IP, yes. Open your browser and paste your IP address :5000, because the port is 5000. Port is an extension. This application is running. So now we need to wait a second to get this done. So if it is not running, we'll be actually doing some troubleshooting as we continue. All right, so by default, we have not exposed the 5000 port. So now we are going to our instance. We are going to the security tab, security section. Now we are going to add new rules. So part of these rules, we will be allowing 5000 so that anyone can access. So to do this, click edit. Okay, add new rule and all TCP, all traffic, custom, and that's pretty much it. Inbound means somebody is coming from outside and hitting my server. That's called the inbound. So 00.0.0.040 means anybody can access this machine. So now let's try this, see how it goes. It came, hello world. Remember, go back to the code base. Go back to the code base, go back to the app.py. No, go back to the backend, app.py, and open, look at the line number 4, because there is, after 5000, there is no endpoint. And endpoint is a specific, like the area where we are trying to do something, reaching out something. So in this case, we are going to type reverser. After the 5000, we are going to type the reverser, or we are going to type the summation. So that's our end goal will be. So let's continue. So our backend is working as expected. All right. So now we are going to open another terminal. And we're going to connect. We are going to log into the that terminal. We are going to the same server. We're going to do the front end configuration, which is Node.js. So let's continue. CD download folders. Yep. And paste it because we have this, everything is ready. Yep, we are in the machine. And Control plus, please. Control plus, the way you make it larger or bigger. Yep, that is correct. Thank you. So now let's continue with our front end deployment. So front end is actually the Node.js. So our code base is two-tier application. We're going to the front end directory, and then we are going to the ls. Remember, the package.json has all the dependency. In the Python requirement.txt, all the dependency. So let's go there. Cat. Cat means the thing what is inside a file in Linux command. So you can see all this what we have seen on the Gitlab. Yep. So we are going to do this now. Continue. All right. Okay. So in this, there is all these things are written details. So we're going to actually NVM, a node version manager, GitLab, github.com/forward/nvm-sh-nvm. And this scroll down, and then you can install. Copy this, go to the terminal, and paste it. Again, you have, after you are in your instance, then you can do that. So that part is done. We did the curl command, and then now we are going to export it. So we'll be learning more details about the export, but for the sake of this deployment, let's continue. All right, that part is done. Export part is done. Okay, so now we are going to continue. Okay, NVM install 14. So we need the version 14 for this, the front end deployment. That's the reason after the export is done, we're just installing it. Installation is complete. So now we are going to install the npm. All right, npm install. So all the package will be installed now. So you have to be in the front end directory. Remember, package.json. We have to be in a location where the package.json, then npm install command will be working. So that's we are in the exact that location. All right, so now, so give a couple minutes to complete the installation. Once installation is done, all the dependency, all the dependency, forget about the warning. Warning is fine. As long as there is no error, your installation is complete. So npm is done, npm is done. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so now we have done the nvm and npm. Let's continue, go to the source, cd.source. We're going that, and let's see what is happening now. All right, so, all right, so stay there now. So we, of course, we are going to the vim is like the editor in Linux, one of the popular editor. We're going that. Vim just set up. Yep, go ahead, continue. All right, so we are in this file. In the file, instead of the local host, we're going to do some magic. Let's do that. So let's do that. So we are going to the cloud instances. We're going to our cloud instance, and we are going to provide our IP address of the backend. So now there is two things. If your backend is separate server than the front end, so you simply go to your backend server, copy the IP address and paste it here. So we are doing here. We're just removing the local host. Yes. Yep. Now we are just pasting it. And that's pretty much it. Nothing else you need to change. And come in the down, because there is one reverser that is on the summation. In the backend, there is two API. One is reverser, one is the summation. In the front end UI, we are going to see this. So before you make the changes, we can try it out. We can go to the browser. We can do the summation. It shouldn't work. We can try the reverser. We can try it out. It should not work because we did not connect with the backend server. So let's try it out. All right, so let's open another tab, go shell. You can create another tab, and we created another tab, and we are going to log in to the server, in our server, and we are going to run the front end. And let's do this. Okay. Downloads. Yep, and let's do this. All right, so we're in the server, and we are going to do the directory, our code base directory. Go back there, cd to tier. You type few words and a few characters, then you can tab on it. So we are going to the front end directory, cd front end, we did that. Yep, you can clear the screen so we can see. We are in the front end directory. Let's go. npm start. So now we are just starting npm the front end. Let's do that. Node package manager is started. Now we need the public IP address, and we will go our browser and see if it is working or not. So where is our public IP? Here is our public IP address. All right, go back and type it. And we have to port number. So we'll show that later. So it is already working here. Now, our summation and reverser should not work because we did not complete the integration between the front end and the back end. So let's try it out. Summation, reverser, 1, 2, 3, 4. Type something. Nothing is working. That should be the expected. Go to the summation. 5, 6, 7, 8 something, yes. So that's the good. Oh, click here. Nothing is working because we are expecting a math. It is not working because the front end and back end is not, integration is done. So now let's go back to the screen. So now we are actually going to the tab number 1. Go back to this tab. Remember, that's where we are exactly changing. We made the changes. Now in the beam, colon, you have to do the escape, colon, WQ, then enter. So now the save is complete. Now the integration is done. So let's see. Let's see. Integration is done. We have to npm start again. We made the changes. We are going to npm start again. And let's go back to the browser. And then we are going to see this. We're going to refresh our browser and type it, reverser, okay? Do the small part. So that's the reverser. You see this 9 came in the beginning. Go to the reverser number. In the bottom, just a little bit bottom, that's the output. Where you see the output, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it will be displaying 4, 3, 2, 1 because the integration is done. Now go to the summation. Yeah, we are expecting 10 because 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 equal to 10. So our front end is working perfect. So now our integration is done, installation configuration done, but the last piece is we're going to do the API testing using the Postman. All right, so in the next video, we'll actually go over the API testing more details using the Postman. And then we'll be covering the different functionality of the Postman, how to test a backend application using the Postman type of RESTful testing tool. So let's cover up this session. So let's cover up the session is, we're going to do this thing. Let's go see. So we cover all of this. We have deployed the two-tier application. We have deployed on the cloud platform, which is AWS. We had instance that we actually hands-on details how we created the instance. We have the logged in on the instance from the Mac computer, and then as well as we have the Gitlab, which is our code repository. We clone the code base in our server, and then actually we install and configure the backend, which is Python Pip, and all the dependency. Then we have installed the NVM, and then we installed the NPM, and we actually done the both preparation, installation, and dependency. Finally, we have actually done the integration, which is on the .proxy file. And once the configuration is done, then we have tested out on the front end, which is our browser. And then finally, it is working as expected. The excitement is coming. Next one will be our actually the API testing details. And plus, we'll be actually doing the CI/CD on the cloud platform. So until then, thank you. You can subscribe our channel and give us your comment. And if you have any discussion, if you want to join our program, join http://ts4u.us. Until then, thank you and have a wonderful day.